Hello everyone, I'm Greeklook, thank you for joining me, and welcome back to episode 191 of Factorio with the C-Block mod, where we are just beginning to play around a bit with the idea of having robots expanding our area for us. And I just want to explore this a little bit, because it has been on my mind for quite a while. And we will see how it goes. I started designing this with roboports in mind, where we could snap land areas together like this. I'm unsure about exactly how this offsetting works, to be honest. Because if we do something like this and set an offset, or just set it to snap, and that snaps somewhere. Maybe where I took the blueprint, but it didn't seem like that from the first part. On the other hand, I did a lot of offsetting on this to get it to match where I placed the original. Like this. And that just seems weird. Because there's no reason for it to match exactly this area to start with. I think we're just gonna take a new one, though it's pretty dang difficult to see where we need to go now. At least without a roboport. On the other hand, maybe roboports are not what we want to do. Maybe we want logistics zone expansions and robo recharge stuff. How large? So the idea with all of this is first of all to expand our area. And maybe just expansion would be easiest with robobots. But if solar panels are a 4x4 tile thingy, I think we have some over here that are large. Yep. And that does indeed look... No, that's a 5x5. 1, 2, 3, no 4. I just can't count. It is 4x4. That fits better with a substation, as logistics zone expander, and 2 charging points. At least that's what I'm thinking at the moment. We do still not produce these automatically though, but we don't produce any of these either. And we can't really build that in a nice way here, can we? Maybe we can. We need copper though, and that's all the way over here. Could bring that manually then. But again, substations are only really... Well, we could build a higher tier one, but then we need 10 copper wire, and we don't have that either. No. But maybe these only really work well with the solar panel setup and not with just an expansion in mind. In any case, I want some of these produced. But maybe I should just do it by hand. I think I'll just grab all of that from junk. And maybe we'll just take a couple of these with us then as well. So, red circuits, steel, and copper. And let's just put everything back in then. Now, maybe I should also say that between episodes, I just added the aircraft mod that gives us planes. This is far away though, so maybe it's not the greatest idea I ever had, because I don't think these are actually that fast. But maybe we should start researching it anyway. And then I also added a build brush mod, so we can do this stuff and actually just drag those a little bit more easily. That just makes making a bus so much easier. I will try to remember to add those to the mod list at the bottom of the description, but no promises. So yeah, yeah, let's get back to this stuff. And I really shouldn't be using nanobots for this. Okay, so solar panel. These would just fit so nicely around one of these, and two of those. Would it also fit nicely like this? Not really, but then we would also need accumulators. Can I not make those? Is it not possible? Yes, just normal. I was actually looking into... I talked with myself at some point about me believing that there was supposed to be more different types of accumulators with Bob's mods. And there is supposed to be, but apparently I think it's just the C-block mod pack that limits that again. Because I can't find it in here at least. So I guess we're just using standard accumulators, but we need batteries and iron. Just want a few to see how this goes. This is batteries, great. So we want this to be at max range maybe, except that these don't reach each other. But maybe we should go with the higher tier then. 24 reach instead of 18, that's just 6 more. So to there, let's just save that location. This would be pretty wasteful with well, all of the robot stuff, to be fair. I not finished accumulators? Yes. We could do something like this. Would it make sense to have 4 of these to 2 of these? I am not sure, but I don't think I care too much about the ratios here. Maybe I do. But at least we could make something like this work. So that could be pretty tileable, I think. We would also need batteries to go across in this direction at some point, if we want these to reach. So maybe we just do that above. Something like that. Would this work by itself? So far, yes. Let's enable nanobots again, please. Come on. Something like that, maybe. That is at least what this can reach. And that is very tileable, of course. But then we are wasting zone expansions thingies. And we're having a lot more of these than we would otherwise have. Because this should be able to go all the way out here. Of course, we could just put a substation in between here. We don't have to put the robot stuff down next to everything. We could just have accumulators, replace some of them. Also, now we have more accumulators than solar panels. Alternatively to all of this, we could use these. They are 4x4 actually, so there's no real reason for this except that we have the power here. But then, what if we had the power here instead? And then had a roboport here. And then built out from this. Maybe we could even fit that in several times here between each roboport. No, that would not reach. That's too bad. It would if we overlapped. So like this, we would also have more roboports than we need. But again, we could use better substations. So it gives us 6 tiles. No, the supply area is increased by 6 tiles in each direction. Well, that also... Yeah, so this is in this case 18 tiles. And this is 18 tiles. 4, 8, 16 plus 2 is 18. And having 6 tiles more would give us 3 tiles on each side, so we would have out to here. Which would not cover everything there. But that wouldn't really be a problem, I don't think. Need the tier 1s for these anyway. We don't want to do big electric poles because then we can't reach all of the solar panels. We need everything to be covered by power. It's only plausible to use these for our expansion areas where we're just putting roboports down for an area like this where we actually want to build afterwards. But maybe we shouldn't distinguish between that yet. I mean, we don't have a lot of solar panels and we haven't started production of it. Maybe I should just start thinking about expansion first. And then we can worry about solar power afterwards. And for that expansion part, it's the least work for the robots to just place these along with large power poles. Do we want large power poles though? We're not producing them. Copper, iron, steel. Copper, iron, steel. We could do it here. If we had the space. I guess we don't want turrets anymore. So we could potentially just remove this production and replace with iron rods and then the large, big electric poles. That's very possible. Cargo plane. What is the other thing we get? Where is this thing we just researched? Jet engines or whatever. Oh well. Maybe it's easier to find from here. It's not all the way up here. It's... We should have the same requirements for this, right? Which would be the thing we just researched. Which I can't find for some reason. Unless it's just all the way at the top somewhere. It was blue research, so it should be further down than this. Here it is. Aerodynamics. Cargo planes or gunships. Is there a difference in speed between those? I'm not sure. Well, we'll just do both and see. If we have the materials for it, at least. I think we're just gonna remove this old stuff. And make iron rods here. And make large, big electric poles here with steel and copper. Which means we need more space here. And we need this closer, unless we just move that. Copper and do it here for this. Or even just here, and then we don't really need this anyway, but whatever. We are now producing that stuff instead. Good. I think that's a good idea. If we just take this place here so I can see where we need to go. Can we mark that somehow? With a blueprint, maybe? Then we can remove that and take this into a new blueprint and remove all these old ones. Go away. You go away. Maybe I already had it, but this is fine. Then if we snap this, it isn't where the old one was, but we can just do whatever we want, really. Yeah, I just want these, please. Thank you. And these. And I guess I can just fill this in. It's just a starting point for the grid. Well, always problems with inventory space. I guess we don't really need to be careful with putting too much down, but it's just easier to see where our robots go if we don't do too much at least. Good. This we want to keep, at least for now. So that is nice and good. And I guess we will just design something out here to start with. Unless we want a larger blueprint of this. So how much do the robots cover? I guess they say so themselves. It is just 50. Okay. So if we take 50 here and then just run up with that. I just want to see how this reacts with snapping to the grid. If that has a different grid or it is the right, same one. It is the same one, good. So we can make a tall one of these and get a copy of that. But it doesn't really matter if we make a large one, because since we can snap it, we can just drag it. That didn't work like I thought it did. It just didn't mark everything or anything on the map. Okay. I guess we would also need... what are they called? Radars in this setup from time to time. And we probably wouldn't want that in all of the blueprints. Also, I want to consider artillery. As again, I want the robots to expand everything, including killing the worms. Let's just remove those two. And I guess we really just want this. But let's start by designing at least what we want on top of one of them. So, Roboport. Hitting the edges. We need power somehow. Are we gonna do that in any particular way? No. This will not reach all the way to the next one, so we need... I guess we will need a blueprint that allows us to put one halfway across here. Unless we want to just use 50% more power poles, or 33% more. So what we really want is a power pole in between these two. And they have 11 tiles where they are equally far, really? How much space is in here? 48. So 24 up. The power pole needs to cover half of this. So there, basically. Then we should be able to take that, and that should also fit there. Yes, good. And these are connected. And again, it doesn't matter if we go too far here. We just want this to be a part of the blueprint. And I guess we would want this to actually make a grid. Though we don't need these to grid out, really. We only really need them at one point to bridge everything and then have power poles in one direction. But yeah, let's just do this. So we also need a little bit of space here, and here, and here. If we want more than one tile, but I probably don't. Oh, that is still correct, right? It is definitely not. Oh, because this is in the middle. So these can't... Well, this is not in the middle then. Does it matter? Not really. It might just be offset to the snapping of the other grid though. As that fits to some grid somewhere that is not equal to the other one. But then we could just offset this one, I guess. We need to know how much. We wanted something like 25 tiles on the x-axis, I think. Minus 25? Because I wanted it to move to the right, I think. That was too much. I don't understand why the grids do not fit better together. I guess this is not the same size. It is 52 by 52 instead of 50 by 50. Since these go out by one tile on each side. So they can't really snap to the same grid, of course. And we don't really want them to snap. We can't make this snap. I don't think. Because what would happen then if we put this down and then snapped it over here? Then we would get two power poles right next to each other instead of using the same power pole. So we would need to remove one on one side and rely on the other side. Yes. And that goes in the other direction as well then. So with this, we should be able to make everything we want. We just need to make it a larger grid. So this needs to be 50 by 50. And that almost fits. So yeah, I'm still unsure about if it's the building it's moving if we move the x-axis by one, or if it's the grid where it snaps. So does one on the x-axis move the buildings one to the right or one to the left? We want the buildings to be 4 tiles to the left. So let's just add 4 tiles in one direction. If we add 4 here, it moves the grid to the right. That must mean that the buildings are moved to the left. So this should be right. Right? Yes. And then I said if I added one to the y-axis, moved the buildings down, but that's because it moves the grid up by 1. Yes. And that is what we wanted, I think. Yes, at least for this. And we do want it for everything, because this fits together with the other snapping grid. We have both this and this. So we can place this down out here, and then we can place this down, and then everything should fit. At least if we actually place more than one of these grids down, because again, we can't have the top power pole on this. But that's okay. We just need to use our brain a little bit while expanding with this stuff. So if I take one of these and put there, can I actually put this on top of it? No, I cannot. That's a little annoying, to be fair, or to be honest. Will this actually build enough that we can place the other Roboport down? I am not entirely sure about that. Yes, it will, because this new Roboport covers the old Roboport. So the old Roboport must cover the new Roboport as well. That is good news. And it also covers... Wait, is that how it always is? I'm just curious now. Oh, we need power to have it tell us anything. So it would snap here, or at least bridge here. And just give me one of those. So yeah, that is covered, okay. I have just never thought about that. I guess it actually says on here as well. So power area 50 by 50, construction area 110 by 110. So yes, of course it overlaps by 5 tiles on each side. That's good to know. And it just helps in this situation. So if we wanted to expand, we would need to draw a line of these, the landfill first. And then when at least it got everything that it can put down of that, then we can put everything else on. So if we start in here, we still need radar stuff. Maybe we should figure that out now. I would like to not have radars on each of these tiles, but on the other hand, does it matter too much? I need power, please. How many of these did I get? Maybe enough. Since this all fits onto the same grid now, I think it should also fit with these grids in here and then these power poles. So that should be used there later for this, and it is. Oh, there's power out here. We are not bridged here because of this. So we of course need to give the robots access to all of this, and that's fine. We can do that. We've done it before. We also need a blueprint of that. We'll also do that. Let's just grab some of the stuff that we are going to need. So, big electric poles, where we had turrets before. And I'm gonna need a lot more space. So, at least for the moment, this will be our expansion hub. We needed a lot of landfill, of course. We need a lot of those. We need probably a lot of those. And roboports. And then that's everything. Yes, for now. So let's grab a bunch of radars, if I can find them. I am not sure what sort of tiers those are, so I'll just try to keep my eyes open. Actually, it's in the military tab, so maybe I was being a little bit smart and made it together with other military stuff. Which was where exactly? Not here. The turrets were further down. Yeah, it should be pretty far down actually. We have sniper turrets somewhere still, right? Oh, here. I want a few more of those stored, in case we start to overuse them at least. And roboports. Roboport. We will start to need a lot more of those. I will just put these down as well, even if we don't need them at the moment. So that should be everything. As soon as that gets down, we should see the robots come out here and up here. If we have enough at least. We don't, of course. We're gonna need a lot more than 300 if we want to be able to put down 2500 landfill a bunch of times quickly, so we are just gonna take another 1000 and hopefully, well, we will need a lot of charging right here, so let's just add that. And I'm not sure how I want to remove all of this stuff when we then want to go and build on it, but that should be the least of our worries, I think. That is all being put down. That will be very slow to be charged, but that's just how it is. We just need to do something like this quite a lot of time in advance. So maybe that's the area we want. Maybe just one more on top. And yeah, that's slow robots. So as soon as we actually get a full row of roboports here, it should be a lot faster to make the next lines. And then the next lines could just be put down like that. Yes. So I think I'm somewhat happy with that. Now, radar coverage. We obviously need that to be able to actually place the blueprints down. But we wouldn't really need it other than one in every 5 or 10 roboports. How expensive are these? Is it a problem? It is a bunch of steel, brass and aluminium. And advanced circuits. I don't want to use that many advanced circuits, I don't think. We could go with smaller radars, that would be a lot cheaper. And if we just remove this and put this in, that is still... Is that everything? Is that covered by this? No, it's not. Okay, good. So yeah, if we did this, it would be a lot cheaper and it would just fit into the blueprint. Snap. And make it 50 by 50. And then we just need to adjust it with 4 and 1. Whoops. Just 4. 1. Go. And then we have a grid with a radar on it. I think I like that idea a bit better than using all of these. That will mean that we will have a lot of tier 1 radars on the map. But I don't really think that's a problem. Do our artillery work without radar coverage? Don't actually know from the top of my head, but I would think so. We didn't have radar coverage over here before, and we shot all of this. We have never had radar coverage down here. So yes, they must. So we don't really need a large radar coverage. I seem to believe, or seem to remember, that artillery can even shoot out in the black area, the unseen area. At least they once did. So yeah, that seems fine to use small radars, if I can find them again. Right here. I need to store a lot more of those then. And I guess we should start actually using storage chests in here and expand the robot coverage to this area so they can grab all of this stuff themselves. But let's just start by taking a few of these radars. Why am I so bad at remembering where they are? A little bit north of assembling machines, a little bit south of ore processing. Let's try and remember. Well, now I probably don't ever need them again, but... Okay, yes. We are going to use those. Now, the robots have spaced enough that we can then take... Let's remove this. I don't think we will need this. So we have these two. And we should then be able to place that one. Cannot build on the water because we do not have landfill up there, that's fine. We should be allowed to always just force place these. As long as we have the roboport, of course. Since we cannot place it anywhere where it shouldn't be anyway, because we snap. But it would be a lot easier if we could just have both of these in the same blueprint. I think I need to look into if that's not possible in some way between episodes. Oh, is this what I actually want? No, I think I actually like it snapping to exactly the same grid all the time. Otherwise, can we... So this would snap to the same grid. If we made it relative, we could place it or start it wherever we want and then just snap it to there. Yeah. I don't like that too much. I think I like this idea better. And yes, the robots have trouble charging. That is expected. It will get better as we get a lot more roboports out on the map, I think. We need Well, we could. Do we want to add more charging? Charging is obviously going to be a problem for ever, basically. We have robot charging things. They should be a lot cheaper than a full roboport, I think. Robot stuff. We could also go for higher tier, but I don't want to. 25 red circuits though. Holy Christ. This is 45. Holy moly. Well, yes, then they are a lot cheaper, but do we want to spend that many red circuits? If we just think about it a bit, we don't want all of this to actually be permanently placed. We will just keep an outer layer of it so we can expand from there, and then we will remove most of the stuff behind it. It would be nice, of course, to always have a logistic connection to all of it and to our mall where the robots should pick up their stuff. But that should mean that we are reducing how many of everything we put down. It's not an infinitely expanding thing. Oh well, it is, since our area that we want to expand gets larger and larger. But it's not as fast, let's just say it like that. We reduce it a lot. So we want this blueprint. This should just double our charging, so yes. And snap 4, 1. What is this down here? Is that the other direction? As in negative? Does it go back here? No. I have no idea about that. Is it just a convenience thing where we can put down old numbers before we start adding or changing stuff? I'm not sure. If we didn't have these, does it do anything? No. I really have no idea about that. And it doesn't say anything. Okay. I mean, this is vanilla. How is that hard to understand? Does it say anything here? Oh, we can actually shift left click. We can do this. That's awesome. But yeah, it still changes the numbers, of course. Does it have something to do with relative as opposed to absolute? Then it just doesn't line up very well. Grid size is pretty well lined up. This one, I guess, is pretty well lined up. But then these two. Is it padding, maybe? Is it if we want some space between the grids? So let's say that this was 49 by 49 instead of 50 by 50. Or I guess 8. And then we had one tile of padding on each side. Is this the one? No, the other one. This one. Why is that so off? What? Why does that not... I just want to make sure that this does not mess anything up by any way. It does not, okay. The blueprint is the same. If we put 1 and 1 there, it is offset by 1 and 1. So we just offset the whole thing, is that it? The grid and everything stays the same. This should work. No. Wait, what? It's off by 1 and 1 still. I did nothing. I think I may have changed this one. Yeah. That's not what I wanted. This one is our reference for now. This one is the newest and it should be right now. It is not. Actually, it's off by the tritium. So it is negative. So we had 4 here, so that would be equal to negative 4. Yes, it is the negatives. What the heck? Does it say anything about it here? Snaps to global grid. The coordinates specify how the blueprint placement is positioned relative to the global grid. That says absolutely nothing about how to do this, or how it makes any change. I mean, then if we had the 4 here and 1 here, just 0, 0. This also works, yes. So let's just say we set 8 and 2 here and then 4 and 1. That should also work. Yep. Okay. And just to make sure it's not a problem with... Let's just go 1 further. So 8, 2. That's the same. I mean, it's offset compared to the mouse. Or the cursor. Is that it? No, maybe not. We can. We are in the full area with the cursor. But the green area is definitely offset now. That was not the case with this. No, this actually... I think... Well, at least the green grid area here is lined up with the other grid. This one is definitely not. So this is offset by how much? It's more than 4. Is it the 8? So is this the 8 grid? But then we move the buildings in the opposite direction with 12. I think that is right. So if we just did 5 and 1, and 1 and 0, or 2 here and 1, then this should still fit and the grid should be offset by 1 in each direction. And it is. Okay, so we can manipulate the grid and the buildings separately. I think I will just stick to the grid, or to the buildings then, I guess, is what this is. Okay, and we have this now with the charging pad. That is the new default. Get rid of that. I guess we should just get a blueprint book for this, but let's make sure that we have everything we want to have. So we should always force that, that's fine. Good, and then more landfill will be put down. And then we will just keep expanding, because that's my job. I don't have any landfill though. We don't need these for now. I think we will just connect everything at the top here and have robopods going down along this. At least that's the best idea I can produce at the moment. I will just help the robots, at least in this one case here. And just make space for the robopods. probably didn't even bring enough. I did. Awesome. So we take this and we just drag it. Wait, what? Oh, I need to force. And let's not put everything else down. The robots need work to do, or stuff to do. We can't take their jobs. And then, when everything there is put down, then it should be easy to just drag a line of this, and then drag a line of this when that is done. And then we can move out one tile from there. Everything would be a little faster if we always had the next line of landfill planned. But I cannot... Well, I'm not very happy about that idea, since we would then have a very long list of things the robots haven't done yet at all times. So I think we should always only plan stuff that we can actually put down. Or at least try to. Now, the next thing I wanted was for the robots to actually do artillery turrets. And somehow get ammo into them as well. We don't really need power for this, of course. But expanding in any direction would be easier if we just had it next to this stuff. Because this roboport can actually build this. And we'll have placed the landfill when we place everything else. I'm not sure. I don't want this in the initial build, but I would like to have this placed down by robots. I would like there to be a chest next to this with a filter for artillery shells. And then obviously, so we do need power. Well, we learn things as we go. Yeah. And this, of course, will not get anything by itself. But imagine we had an old artillery turret with its own chest that was filled with this. And that we could then paste a blueprint on top of, where we had emptied this out. Would that actually do anything? Would they then try to empty this? Also, this should of course still have this, I think. But then when we paste this, it removes that, yes. Well, all the robots are of course busy, at least most of them. Some are coming back now, but they're not doing any of this. Good. So that is not a possibility. But if we have these storage chests with filters, then when we plan this for deconstruction, one robot comes. That robot is not gonna take the chest, but hopefully it will take some ammo from it and move down here. And it does. Now these should then be very limited, I think. 20. At the time when we actually use robots to put these down, then 20 should probably be enough. Now, of course, we use some of those. So from time to time, we need to inject a lot more stuff into the network by just having one of these as a storage chest and marking it for deconstruction, I guess. And that's okay. Now, if we do not have enough space out at our artillery turrets, then the contents of that chest would of course just be brought to other chests, which is something we don't want. But at least the idea works part ways, or at least some of the way. Of course, everything would be a lot easier if we just had requested chests, but we do not. And it's still too far away, I believe. 2 more types of science. So yeah, that is very much too far away. I think this is an okay idea. But we need to have enough of these for the robots to actually put down. For now, I guess we will just put them down manually every now and then. And maybe if we do that manually, it's also faster to just put all of the landfill down manually. Since we do not need to stop and wait for or fight with the worms manually. I say manually a lot, sorry about that. But yeah, at least part of this is decided. And they are working nicely. I would like all of this to be done and then just see how it works with the next row. How slow or fast that feels. We do have most of our robots available at the moment. We have 69,000 landfill, nice. This requires 2,500, so we should have more than enough to just place all of this. So let's have a look at that. Oh, let's not place that top part. It is very weird to actually drag this while just moving the map. It seems very slow. And I guess it is moving 2,500 tiles and doing math to snap those or something. But yeah. Of course, before all the robots were working anyway, so it's not gonna be any faster this time necessarily. But it's fine. I think this is a good start to the idea of robot expansion. I think I will just make a blueprint book. Put these in there for now. And also just have a deconstruction planner in here. Actually, when I remove these now, they're removed from the book, so we don't want that. They are also removed from here. What? Eh. So this one goes in here. Snap 1, no, 4, 1. 50, 50. And that fits good. Then we need a 50 by 50 thingy. Do I not have this in my paste buffer, maybe? This, yes. Let's just test that this is correct. It looks very correct, good. Then let's put it in here and snap. And then that shouldn't be removed when we remove that. No, good. And we can put this in here. What happens then when we remove this book. We have everything in the paste buffer that we need, right? Can I duplicate a book? Create a copy of this. Yes, please. Put that in there. Since this one is not in our inventory, I don't actually think that it will remove it from the blueprint book. Let's just go all the way and believe that enough to try it. I am wrong, of course. Of course I am. Holy moly. Can we put a blueprint book in here first then? And fill it up from here? No, not delete. Put one of those in for fun. Put a blueprint in as well. Actually, put a blueprint of that in. Good. That is saved. Then we put it down here. What happens when we remove it from there? It is also removed from there. What? Oh, we should not remove it from here. We should just middle mouse it. I think that is something I've done wrong quite a lot. The thing is that if it's in the inventory and down there, and we put it in, let's just keep this button here for now. If we then put this in here, then it's not in the inventory anymore. But this is in what? That is not something I tried to do. Inventory. Blueprint book. Blueprint book there. Because I deselected, it goes in the inventory. Why is this suddenly something I'm having trouble with? If I take it from there, it's not in my inventory. And if we... No, not delete. Never delete. We put that in there. It is also here. And if we just middle mouse that to remove it, it should still be here. Yeah. So I need to remember I'm never allowed to do this. To remove it from my hand. Or at least from the hotbar. And what happens when we put it in there? How do I get rid of it? Okay. If I put it in there, it is not in my inventory anymore. Wait, when I took it from here and put it, it gets removed from here. What? I guess that's just wrong to use it like that. I'm just using the system wrong. I should just do that. Now this should only remove, at least this thought, we probably need 2 of these. But first, remove artillery, medium electric poles, and inserters, and these storage chests. So that is something we can drag across things we don't want anymore. Then we should also have one that removes power poles and roboports and charging ports and radars, and I think that is it. 1, 2, 3, 4 different entities, yes. Oh, that's going to mess me up so many times that we don't know what we're removing. Oh. We can use that to remove it later. Now, the robots have gotten quite far, so we can... This is not something we want in there. Nope. And we do not have what we actually want in there, but we have a paste buffer. Goal. This is also something we want, and we will adjust it from here. let's just check that out first. Yes, that fits, good. And then we want this one. And that needs to snap, and that's just 0, 0. And that is correct, good. And that is stored in there, good. Let's actually make a copy and just store it again, because I will end up removing that. Hopefully those are not both removed when I remove this. Copy. Is that too big to remember? Hopefully not. Because then if I accidentally delete this, it's only one of them. Good. So definitely keep a few copies of that in there. And we can then drag this, force place this. And we don't have enough radars, that's fine. And then we can keep going. We are of course just sitting and waiting at the moment, but later when we think a little bit further ahead, then it shouldn't be a problem, I don't think. So I'm quite happy with this. And we haven't done anything useful. Well, production-wise at least. But unfortunately, that's all we have time for in this episode. So thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.